Citizencon is an incredibly important part of the year for this game and its community, so much so that I actually originally pledged just after Citizencon 2019. This is the premier event for CRG to show us all of the super hype and fun things that will totally 100% come out next year. This is to say it has a weird reputation. Every year it runs, there is so much buzz around the event and the news that comes with it, but until the last few years, an overwhelming percentage of it becomes outdated or doesn't even release.
And the Merchantman.
07 Star Citizens, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Before we begin with this video, I do want to make sure that everyone knows that I am giving away a car to WoW thanks to CIG at the moment. So if you want to check that out, make sure to check the link in the description. A few weeks ago, Citizencon tickets went up for sale. The largest gathering of developers and community members for the games Star Citizen and Squadron 42. This will be the first time this event will be in a real-world environment since 2019, and the project as well as the community has changed a considerable amount in that time. We have seen new mechanics come and go, as well as the player base almost double in that amount of time, based on the player count updated on the website. And to reinforce that, we have this tweet from community manager Xylo last week saying already over double the amount of tickets for Citizencon have been sold. So I wanted to take a look at what we've seen from Citizencons in the past, especially the last two digital Citizencons and the 2019 live Citizencon, to see if we can figure out what we might expect this year and if the event can save Star Citizen. Yes, that is a bit of clickbait, but I think you'll understand sort of where I'm going as we go through. And make sure if you have any predictions for what you think is going to be shown at Citizencon, make sure to put them in the comments below. Citizencon 2019 was a very large event, a mixture of panels and presentations showing us a ton of information about some future mechanics and locations. We had presentations and panels about the new planet Microtech and all of the assets that came with it, including the new weather model, foliage, trees, mountains, biomes, and everything we would see on it. We also saw a walkthrough of the spaceport and another location on Babbage during the keynote speech, which only a few months later we got to see the release of Microtech and New Babbage, quickly becoming a favorite location of the community. We had a ship talk panel in which we were told about how the brand new Carrack was developed, how it was going to work, and 4 more ships that were in development that have since been released. The Carrack guaranteeing itself a top 4 spot in every single ship showdown until the end of time. We saw a presentation on the new prison system, which was released about 8 months later, and has become everyone's absolute favorite activity to do after a night of crime. We had presentations on armor variants and their implementation with the new weather system, how UI will work in regards to building blocks, how the sound team makes realistic yet fun ship sounds, lore on alien races, lore on the upcoming UEE election, and also how the new planet tech works. You can see that the majority of the things that they did show in 2019 ended up coming to fruition in the game within a year and a half. And that a lot of these things that they were showing us were in regards to how the game is actually developed, what the aesthetics of the game are. However, this Citizencon had some major flaws in showing us a few things that have seemingly disappeared from our view. Namely, theaters of war and the dynamic economy. We had a presentation about theaters of war, which, as it often does in Star Citizen, seemed to be just on the horizon. That is until last year the project got frozen, and currently its fate is unknown, with the current Arena Commander team seemingly being responsible for the leftover assets and work. We had a huge presentation from Tony Z about the dynamic universe, incorporating things like quanta, dynamic economies, and how NPCs, missions, and beacons will all mesh together in this weird cosmic ballet. This is something that 4 years later, we have heard pretty much nothing about, except for a little bit more of an in-depth explanation on what quanta does. Squadron 42, the single-player campaign, was completely absent from Citizencon 2019, and we haven't seen any live footage of the game really since about 2018. We did get to see some Squadron work at Citizencon last year. However, all of it was within the context of features that they are bringing into Star Citizen. There was nothing Squadron 42 specific. So looking at those examples, before we move on to what we might see in 2023, I also want to talk a little bit about the 2 digital Citizencons that we've had. Obviously, 2020 COVID hit, And so we've had a couple of years where there has been no live Citizencon, which feels like there may be this sort of like a backlog of energy that CIG want to inject into the community. At least that's what I would expect to see. The digital Citizencons themselves, though, seem to follow a similar style to Citizencon 2019, but a bit more casual. There were no hard dates given to releases. We had more in-depth descriptions on development, and once again, no news on Squadron 42. There is one thing, though, that has been a super recurring theme recently with these previous Citizencons, and that's Pyro. In 2021, during the keynote presentation, we got to see Pyro 3 for the first time, including a bunch of other things like futuristic missions, the brand new 400i, and some new settlement tech. But last year, during the 2022 Citizencon, we just once again, the main feature of the whole event was getting to see all of the biomes in Pyro, which was really cool, but it's obviously not the same as, you know, this massive keynote presentation that involves all of the new mechanics that are coming out. So for the most part, I want to say that for 2023, we're probably going to see the exact same things we saw in the digital Citizencons and Citizencon 2019, with one large exception. By this, I mean, we're still going to likely have presentations from the devs talking about new mechanics and how they're going forward with them, talking about new aesthetics and how they're building them. And so the format is going to seem very much like 2019, I think, but the presentations will probably be a little bit more polished as they have been with the digital Citizencons. Citizencon this year is split into 2 days. Now, the main reason to do this is just the purely massive amount of people that play the game now. As I said earlier, the player base has practically doubled since the last live Citizencon. This means there needs to be more time for community events, community meetups, costume contests, all of the sort of fun side activity things that happen at Citizencon. We need to have time for those. I don't think we're going to see necessarily a ton more from CIG. In terms of presentations, I think we will once again have a Star Citizen keynote presentation, just like in 2019 and the years prior. Likely, and unfortunately, this will still probably be on Pyro. The development for the game has allowed for a potentially larger keynote if they involved a new ship, the new underground bunkers, a tour of Ruin Station, and maybe a display of some of the new mission types we've been hearing about, or new mechanics like engineering or server meshing fully working within the game. Now, this would be fun, and it would provide some hype, but after 4 years of getting Pyro shoved down our throats, and it's still seemingly nowhere in sight, I think CIG need to, and probably will, do something on top of that to create that extra level of hype. And that's with Squadron 42. I know CIG don't want to talk about Squadron until it's closer to release, but it has been so long since we have seen official footage from this game that for some people is incredibly exciting, and some others is something they just want finished. I think we're going to see either during the keynote presentation or possibly during like a closing ceremony, a either proper demo or like a full 30-40 minutes of in-game footage from current Squadron build. Hell, I might even go out there and say that we could even see an official trailer. Cue everyone saying hopium in the comments, but I don't know how they could do Citizencon in the same way with how much bigger it's going to be. There has to be some sort of big news that drops. In addition, I do fully expect there to be some playable demos at the event for either Squadron or some locations on Pyro for us to explore. With a 2-day event, I think it's kind of a no-brainer to have these sorts of things at the convention center. You're going to have people walking between presentations. You're going to have people who don't really want to go to, you know, like the audio presentation, though I will be there. And they need to spend that time doing something. And there's only so many times that you can go to the community booths and strike up conversations. So having something for them physical to actually do at the event would make a lot of sense. And that could be either, you know, just a Pyro walkthrough, or maybe even if they do announce some stuff with Squadron, a bit of a Squadron demo. And of course, I do expect that we're going to see a lot more of these development style presentations where they go through the nitty gritty of how they designed this specific station. It's something that is quite interesting. It can get a bit boring at times, but as long as they've got new stuff to talk about, like maybe some of the new locations, possibly some more stuff to do with the underground bunkers, I think There's a lot that they can bring there. Hell, even some talk about, costume design that's going on with the pyro gangs, I think, would be worthy of its own presentation. I just hope, in general, I don't get overhyped and disappointed by whatever they actually end up talking about at Citizencon. But if I just remain overhyped all the time, can I ever be disappointed? Two things are certain. Firstly, from a community aspect, this is going to be the biggest and the best Citizencon ever. There are so many more people in the game, so many people that I've met from the game that I will be meeting up with at Citizencon. It's going to be absolutely crazy. That's going to be the best part about it, is the community. The other thing that is certain is that this event is incredibly important for CIG to get right. There are so many people with eyes on this game now, and it's inevitable that after Starfield, which hopefully releases without issues, that there will be even more interested in a multiplayer space experience. All I know is I'll be waiting outside the VIP party crying in the rain. Thanks for watching, guys. That's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I completely off base? Tell me. Let me know in the comments. I'm probably just experiencing a lot of copium right now. I don't know. But regardless, I'm really excited to go to Citizencon. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I release a video, especially a post-Citizencon review when I go through everything I said in this video and tell you everything that I got horribly wrong. Also, as an aside, Nvidia are giving me two 4060s to give away to my community. We're going to be doing that in a couple days' time. I'm going to be posting it up on Discord and on Twitter to let everyone know that it is happening. Citizencon tickets are still available, guys. Hopefully, I'll see you there, and hopefully, we won't be underwhelmed. Have a good one, guys.